Good morning, my dear students. In this video, I will discuss about the rivet connection. My intention of this video is to teach you or guide you how to write the answers in the exam for a certain marks. Suppose for 4 marks or 6 marks, what we expect as a teacher to write it down in the answer. I will guide you about that. For more detailed knowledge and if you want to learn it more, so please refer Design of Steel Structure by Negi or Professor S.K. Duggal. So you can refer that book for detailed for detailing or for further knowledge. But here I will guide you what are the questions that are expected to come and how you have to write it. So I am starting my lecture on rivet connection. So just I have shown you that this is a rivet and it has two parts. The upper part is called as head and the lower part is called as body or the shank of a rivet. So what is rivet connection? That in engineering practice, sometimes we have to join two sheets or plates which will carry the load in such a way that when the joint is loaded, it should be able to carry that load. So at many times the joints need to be leak proof so that the gas or the fluid they are carrying inside it, they are not allowed to escape or leak out from there. Let us see what are the type of questions that can be asked from this rivet connection. Question number 1. Write the difference between nominal diameter and gross diameter of a rivet. Nominal diameter of a rivet means the diameter of the cold shank before driving. And the gross diameter of the rivet is slightly greater than the diameter of the rivet shank. Strength of the rivets are based on the gross diameter. Here I want to mention in my next video, that is the design of riveted connection. There you will find also a formula regarding the nominal diameter and the gross diameter. So nominal diameter is usually denoted as phi, which is equal to so from there we can find out the different values of the gross diameter by using the formula. So for that you can refer to my next video on the design part. What is pitch of rivet? The pitch of the rivet, it is the distance between two consecutive rivets measured parallel to the direction of the force in the structural member lying on the same rivet line. Minimum pitch, it should not be less than 2.5 times the nominal diameter, and maximum pitch shall not exceed 32 times the thickness of the thinner outside plate or 300 mm, whichever is less. Question number 3. What is the gauge distance of rivets? The gauge distance is the transverse distance between two consecutive rivets of adjacent chains, parallel adjacent lines of the fasteners, and it is measured at right angle to the direction of the force in the structural member. So you can remember the difference between, sometimes the question can also be asked as differentiate between pitch and the gauge distance of a rivet. Pitch, what is the pitch? Pitch is the distance which is measured parallel to the direction of the force, whereas gauge distance is measured at the right angle to the direction of the force. What is rivet line? The rivet line or the back line or the gauge line, these are the three terms they can be used. It is the imaginary line along which rivets are placed. What is staggered pitch? Staggered pitch or alternate pitch or reeled pitch, these are the three terms. They are defined as the distance measured along one rivet line, form of rivet, on to the center of the adjoining rivet on the adjacent parallel rivet line. Now, this is the very important question. Definitely one question will be this one in your paper, that discuss about the different types of the rivet joint. This is very important concept. So rivet joints, they are classified into two types. Number 1, lap joint. Number 2, butt joint. Now lap joint can also be divided into two categories: single riveted lap joint and double riveted lap joint. I will show you in the next slide. But what is a lap joint first? When two plates are said to be connected in a lap joint, that means when the connected ends of the plates lie is in the parallel plane. Okay, so two plates are said to be connected by a lap joint when the connected ends of the plate lie in a parallel plane. So as you can see it from the diagram, so this diagram I have drawn it for the single riveted lap joint. So how does it look? So please note down the diagram. One point I want to take a pause over here and want to tell you that in the exam, as an examiner, while we are checking the paper, while we are evaluating the answer sheet, please remember these are the technical subjects. In technical subjects, a diagram speaks 1,000 words. Maybe you have written one page about the lap joint, but that doesn't carry any value unless you give a diagram. So whenever there is a diagram possible, always give the diagram. So diagram is more important. So if you just draw the diagram as it is shown, almost you will be getting the full marks, and just write about one line, that is enough. Let us see the double riveted lap joint. So double riveted lap joint looks like this. Again, this is categorized into two. Number one, chain riveted. Number two is the zigzag riveted. You can see chain riveted, that means all the rivets are placed along one line, and zigzag means they are not placed along one line, they are staggered or zigzag. Okay, so this is double riveted lap joint. Next is the butt joint. Butt joint, the connected ends of the plate lie in the same plane. They also classified into two categories. Number one, single cover butt joint and the double cover butt joint. Please note down the diagram in your notebook and see what is single cover and what is double cover butt joint. By the way, here I want to tell you that to start my next video, that is the design of riveted connection, it is very important for you to understand the difference between the lap joint and the butt joint. Lap joint में जो classification has single rivet lap joint, double rivet lap joint, butt joint में जो classification है, these diagrams should be very clear in your mind, then only you will be able to understand the design of the riveted connection in my next video. Let us talk about another question that this is also very important, that write short notes about the failure of rivet joints. How many ways the rivet joints can fail? So let us discuss number one, shear failure of the rivets. Shear failure, so please as usual you note down the diagram. I will explain you the shear failure. Shear failure में क्या होता है, plates riveted together and they are subjected to a tensile load, they result in the shear of the rivets. So rivets are sheared along their across their sectional area. शेयर का मतलब ऐसे समझ सकते हो कि जब एक पोटैटो चिप्स का वो रैपर लेते हो, लेस का एक पैकेट लेते हो, हाउ यू ओपन अप द रैपर ऑफ द पोटैटो चिप्स और द लेस पैकेट, कैसे करके ये द प्रोसेस यू ओपन अप, दैट इज कॉल्ड द shear. So that it is called the shear action. So in this case also, shear failure of the rivets also happen in the same way by the shear action. नेक्स्ट वन इज़ द बेयरिंग फेलियर. सो बेयरिंग फेलियर में देखो मैंने दो कैटेगरी डिस्कस किया. नंबर वन इज़ द बेयरिंग फेलियर ऑफ रिवेट एंड बेयरिंग फेलियर ऑफ प्लेट. So please take a note of it that when bearing failure of rivet, when it occurs, that when the rivet is crushed by the plate. So the diagram shows it. And the bear failure of plate, एक तो rivet का भी हो सकता है, दूसरा है plate का भी हो सकता है. How the bearing failure of a plate occurs? It occurs when the insufficient edge distance is there in the riveted joint. Now what is edge distance? Edge distance मतलब from the edge of the plate till the outer diameter of a rivet. Which rivet? The extreme, the rivet which is closer to the plate, which is closer to the plate, outer diameter of that rivet till the end of the plate or the edge of the plate is known as the edge distance. तो ये edge distance अगर insufficient रहा, so in that case the bearing failure of the plate occurs, not the bearing failure of the rivet. Okay, so this is the third way how rivet connection can fail. Next one is the tearing failure of plates. So tearing failure of plates occur at the net sectional area of a plate when the strength of the plate is less than the rivet. So please note down the diagram. Number 5, shear failure of plate. It occurs when the minimum proper edge distance is not provided. So while designing, you have to keep it in mind all these points, that is the whatever is the minimum edge distance, whatever is the maximum edge distance, all they are specified by the code IS 800. So you have to keep it in mind while designing. And the last category is the splitting or the cracking failure of plates at the edges. So it occurs because of the insufficient edge distance in the riveted joint. Shearing, bearing, splitting failure of plates may be avoided by providing adequate proper edge distance. So as you have seen that mostly if you maintain the codal specification while designing, you can avoid all types of failures in case of a rivet connection. Please see my next video on the design of rivet connection, while I have discussed the numericals about how to design a rivet connection. So I have discussed few problems over there. Please put your comment query in my comment box. Also you can mail me at the given email ID. Thanks for watching.